invite everyone to put yourselves on mute. Welcome, everyone. And this is a really beautiful, special opportunity to be in this space together as mentoring stewards. And we have to begin with gratitude for how each one of you are showing up within this connection field initiative. And those of you that are discovering us through the initiative and are coming in to consider being a mentoring steward, which is really those of us that have deepened into this field and really understand this experience of being mentored by the field itself, and just relishing in that relationship through this fertile field of heart resonance. So that's a really good place to begin, and just relaxing, closing your eyes if it feels comfortable.
And Shelley, I'm going to put myself on mute, but you might want to just shut off your video for a minute because you're not following your video. So just shut your video off and we'll have voice on the attunement, and then you can try to come back in again. Thanks.
Can I just come back in now?
Talk.
I don't know. I don't know what
you're still a little garbly.
Oh, I'm
yeah.
garbly.
Yeah. So it's you. It's your something with you.
Okay, so why doesn't everyone take a breath? I'm going to go out and come back in again. How about that? No? Is it fine if I'm doing that?
Your voice is fine. It's just that your picture is not matching up with your voice. So if you want to do the attunement without showing your face, then and everybody's eyes are closed anyway.
All right, that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, that means I need to be attuned to this field. So inviting us, as you know, into our deepest connection, and really opening to be molded by this field itself, be that bamboo flute, to let go of any energies that are no longer serving. And yes, it's about us as individuals, but today it's no longer serving the good of the whole, serving the whole. Just to allow this purification process to happen, so that we as a collective, coming here as mentoring stewards, just tapping into this home frequency. And if you don't know what that feeling feels like, that embodiment of the whole as the whole, it's simply to ask, just show me. Show us as a collective what that next step is. And this is really why we come to this specific space, is to listen and to be activated in that sacred way, that most sacred place of the deepest integrity, the deepest authenticity, and really the joy in the revelation of who we are as a collective. And just allowing the spaciousness through each breath, not any specific breath, but just that letting go, to where this place creates a spaciousness in your own heart. And where the physical heart is connected to the higher heart, and our thoughts are interwoven with the DNA of the living Akash. And that relationship with creation, the creator, the unified field, call it whatever you want, is established. grounded. And just lastly, calling in all aspects, all dimensions of self to be here, fully present and open to receiving, to being trans receivers. And with that, I thank you so much for showing up, for hosting the connection field, for being who you are, and showing up here in this field of mentoring stewards, where we stand ultimately side by side together. So with that, I pass it back to you, Julie.
Thank you, Shelley, and welcome latecomers. Just want to reinforce our vision and mission here before we go into a few details, and then we'll have Shelley introduce a guest. But we are good of the whole. You are good of the whole. We are good of the whole. And we're going to talk about that and moving forward with some special projects coming up real soon as well for our breakouts today as a topic. But I just want to just really have us build this coherent field seated with our vision, which is a world where every individual feels valued, connected, and whole. And really feel that as we ground our wholeness here, as we're grounding this force of love, that we are that, and we're holding that so that every individual can feel valued, connected, and whole. And then our mission is to cultivate an ethos of wholeness, which you hear us talking about all the time, and nurturing our innate capacity to live for the good of the whole. And I want to bring that in. I'm just going to say one more thing about the home frequency and let Shelley introduce a guest, and then I'm going to come back to what I had written on our intention for the day. But as Shelley is talking about that home frequency, whenever Shelley opens her mouth in resonance attunements, that's what you're feeling. And all of you on your hours, you're creating that home frequency every hour on the connection field, coming in and attuning to that heart frequency, which is that home frequency. I had this phrase all morning. I found a note yesterday that I had written, I don't know when, and it's just been on in my mind over and over and over all day today, which is essence is always at ease. We're thinking about our essential self and our essence is always at ease. That's the home frequency. And we're like a turtle where we're already home. We're already right here. Just come inside and come in. We don't need that hard shell to keep us separate from anything. So I'm going to expand on that in a minute, but I'm going to allow Shelley, if you'd like to introduce our guest.
I heard that my video is still messy. What, Susan, maybe just, there might be other guests here, I'm not sure, but Susan, why don't you just introduce yourself? I'm going to go out and come back in and just take a moment just to introduce who you are and your intention in being here.
Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Shelley, for inviting me. Some of you I know, some of you I've seen on some of the calls I've been on, and of course, Kate has been the person that's connected me to this organization. My name is Susan Christensen. My Jewish name is Sarah on my mother's side, and I was adopted by James Wilbur Walton. My Tlingit name is Klawak. Oh, excuse me. I'm thinking of his Tlingit name is Klawak. He's teaching me how to do it right from the other side. And my Tlingit name is Chaaksik, which means eagle daughter. I've lived in Juneau, Alaska. I'm currently calling from just south of the Canadian border, right on the border between Canada and the US. In 2007, I started the Women's Voices Project. It was my elder, Jim Walton Clark, that taught me the prophecy, there won't be peace on earth until the voices of the grandmothers are heard. And I wanted to know what it was after he passed that I could do to honor him, and also to find out what it was that the grandmothers had to offer the world. So I traveled from Siberia to Patagonia. I went the Good Red Road from the north to the south. And I interviewed grandmothers for what initially was a book called Women's Voices, The Wisdom of the Grandmothers. And I realized about halfway through that this really needed to be a documentary film because people needed to hear the voices of the grandmothers right directly from them. I didn't know how to turn on a camera when we started. I traveled with women from Siberia, and we bought a camera and we recorded women, grandmothers of every race, every economic strata, every culture. And I started putting it together, never had any experience with editing, but because I really believe it was in fulfillment of prophecy, I was able to get it to the point where people came forward to really make it something that was worth watching, I hope. And it made it to PBS and FNX and has been seen by millions of people around the world. In 2018, I received a Rasmussen Fellowship. And
Susan, I'm just going to interrupt you for a second. I apologize. But, I think that's probably enough for right now. And we're going to go into breakout rooms, and we're definitely you're going to get to know people here. But I just want to honor that. We want to just keep the energy moving. Love you so much. Thank you for joining us, and we hope that you stay and join us continually as a mentoring steward. So, love you.
And I think we have Zoe Raven here for the first time on a Mentoring Stewards call. Is that correct, Zoe? I know you've been on all kinds of other calls.
Yes.
Do you want to introduce yourself briefly? Look at all your friends. We all it's like the connection field is connected. It's working. So Zoe, give us a brief introduction of you.
My name is Zoe, and introduction. I travel and provide ceremony for the people with Jose for the past year and a half. I delve in, committed to that. I feel like you are all my friends and my tribe now, and I just feel this like support, and I'm just feeling this energy of how, yeah, when we support, how we are all supporting each other and through these calls, and as we support each other, we're supporting ourselves, and as we support ourselves, we're supporting each other. And like, I just this is what we've always been on the path of doing, and I feel like through this channel it's like a very efficient way to practice this and do this and be this. And so I'm just grateful to jump on this call and continue this journey.
Beautiful. Thank you, Zoe. Thanks for joining us. So we have a few opportunities. This is usually our call where we get to work and we get to create, co-create, and we get to co-mentor one another. So there's this mix of literally us learning and evolving and becoming together as mentoring stewards, as well as looking at how we can put this ethos into action, engage wholeness in the world, create whole systems change, and expand that whole worldview. And so we're going to do that a little bit today. I want to talk about an upcoming opportunity and plant a seed for us. And then I have a few announcements, and then we'll come back in. We're going to do some breakouts, and then we'll come back in, and Shelley, you can update us if there's anything you need for the connection field. I have a few other examples. So what I want to drop in here is an opportunity and a realization. And I'm going to start with the realization that unity and peace are a consequence of our experienced wholeness. So as we experience wholeness, let me read that quote that I put in the email for today, which came from the Earth Charter in 2000, which Peace Builder, Dot Maver, who's done incredible work on the planet, they started their organization from this quote, and I want to just read it to you. Peace is the wholeness created by right relationship with oneself, other persons, other cultures, other life, earth, and the larger whole of which all are a part. So when we talk about wholeness here at Good of the Whole, we're not just talking about mind, body, spirit, or a holistic health. We really are looking at our right relationship with ourselves, with one another, with the earth and all her inhabitants, and with the cosmos. Like, that is wholeness. And so when we talk about the experience of that wholeness, when we come into resonance together and we practice coming into that home frequency, we're really practicing that right relationship, which results in that experience of unity and that experience of peace, of inner peace. And so that right relationship is a really important piece that we at Good of the Whole really bring forward to embody that, express that, and engage with that kind of wholeness. So we have an opportunity coming forward. June 20th through the 28th is World Unity Week. Good of the Whole is a co-sponsor of this World Unity Week, along with many other incredible people doing amazing things on the planet. And so what I would like to do this morning is to just create, and Shelley, you can help me craft this and speak to this, but what I would like us to do, this morning it popped, Jose is doing the fire ceremony every morning, and he references 620 as the end of these global challenges. And what a beautiful time to invite him to do the opening ceremony on June 20th for World Unity Week, right? So I popped that, and Shelley's like, yes, yes, yes. So what I want to do is, with this understanding that peace and unity is our lived experience of wholeness, our embodied experience of wholeness. And this is who Good of the Whole is. When we embody that, we learn to live for the good of the whole. The good of the whole, all those right relationships. When we really express and engage with that, we're creating whole systems health. We're recreating all the systems and structures that don't align with that sense of wholeness. And we expand this whole worldview. So I'd like to break out into groups and have us just ponder that for a moment, but also invite us to say, what would an expression during World Unity Week look like? What would you, as Good of the Whole, want to create for that week? What would we, as a collective, want to create for that week? And many of them can be woven into the literal global event that we're helping co-host coming up real soon. So Shelley, do you want to help define or clarify a bit?
I would like to add to what you're saying. So first of all, to me, and the experience I'm having, and each one can look inside yourself. But to me, the experience of the connection field is exactly everything that has just been spoken about. That we are in this unified frequency together. I'm watching it throughout every hour upon hour, everything that's being shared from the fire ceremony to the song and prayer ending in the evening, and even Marcel's heart coherence meditation that now goes from 11 to 12 p.m. Eastern. So we are already having that experience. That's why you're here. That's why you're even, some people who are guests here are curious about, well, what are we doing? So it's everything you're saying, Julie. And for me, I feel like, why start creating this individual thing that we can do for Unity Week? Let's build the connection field, because to me, the connection field is what everybody's looking for, and we already have the platform for it. And the way that I would invite people to consider, is like, if you're not already hosting in the Resonance Lounge, or if you not have a special offering that is really your fullest expression of this wholeness, of this home frequency, to consider what that might look like, and to allow us to support you in, to be part of Unity Week, which is nothing separate from what we're already doing. And I want to just add that, I've seen a lot of the different offerings for Unity Week, and they're amazing. And there's this big, organization, and this big organization, and this summit, and this coherent. But what I really it was a revelation yesterday when I sat with John Raymer, and we were looking at these different sine waves and how to really bring this forward into more people's, living rooms, so to speak. Is that what we're offering here in as good of the whole mentoring stewards, standing side by side inside of this connection field, is we are offering, creating the conditions for people to come home to themselves, to come home. It's all great that we're doing all this motivational stuff out there, but what I'm seeing is this absolute deepest intimacy, the deepest joy and excitement of meeting each other within the connection field. So I'm just going to drop that in as something, instead of like getting frantic about what are we going to do. We're already whole and we're already complete. So I just wanted to throw that in. So,
yeah, and I'll just put an exclamation on that, because I wasn't clear when I'm saying what do we want to create. I think it's an honoring of that week within the connection field. So if there are themes we want to bring forward, if there are different ways that we want to infuse what we already have with the connection field of perhaps everyone focusing on Unity topics, or whatever that might be, or teachings around Unity, or whatever that might be. And I think in small groups, we can allow the field to inspire and engage with that question. So, Shelley, do you want to break us into smaller groups? You're on mute. Is that clear for everybody before we break into small groups? Yeah. And introduce yourselves. Some of you may not know each other in the small group. So
here we go. There'll be 4 or 5 people in each room. Enjoy. And how long, Julie? Like,
we have maybe 20 minutes, 15 to 20. Last time we did 15 and we went 20.
Okay, so 15 minutes and we might go 20. Okay, we're going to open all the rooms.